Alright. So this is gonna be a video version of this book my daughter got me for my Christmas. So start doing a video here, and I'm gonna upload this to one of my YouTube channels so someday they'll see it. So we're gonna open up this page. It says, did you have a job when you were a teenager? What was it? How much were you paid? What responsibilities did you have? And so forth. Now, y'all, I've told y'all this story a few times. Well, these stories and about them. But, so I've been working pretty much since I was about 12. So I started cutting yards. I did some babysitting, paint, stuff like that, odds and ends and so forth. So I've been working a long time. Not an official job, but nonetheless. My very first official job. Okay, so when I was a kid, I would do yards. I would cut yards on base for between $10 and $20, depending on the size of the yard and what kind of job they wanted me to do. And what I found is the officers were willing to pay more sometimes, and then it kind of became competition. And so some officers would want to pay me more than the other ones, and so that was when I was in Guam. When I went to Abilene, I actually did a yard cutting for a friend of mine from the church, or a guy from the church. I helped him. He actually had a business, and that was more than I could handle. So that would be like the equivalent of what you see nowadays with the people out there cutting with professional lawnmowers and weed whackers and all that stuff. So, but I made good money, but Texas was hot. I couldn't handle it. See, Guam was hot, it was muggy and all that stuff, but it was like 80 degrees, 90 degrees, so it wasn't that bad. But man, 100 degrees heat, I can't do it. I don't like cutting the yard in the heat. So my first paycheck job, I was actually, it would have been 98, 99, something like that. And a lady at my church, she worked, in the grocery stores when you do the promotions and so forth for new products. That's what she did. And she needed someone to wear the Teddy Graham suit. So it was the year the Teddy Grahams came out, and before the professional costumes were there, I literally just wore a big bear suit inside of a grocery store, kind of like Tom Thumb or Kroger or whatever. And I was in the middle of the grocery store in the middle of summer, and it was hot. That thing was hot. So I would go out and go to the cooler and to the freezer and take the head off. Because I couldn't take the head off out in the front. So I go to the cooler and I could see the steam just coming out from my costume and stuff. And I was sweating. I probably lost weight that day. So that was my first paid job. One day and so forth. Maybe 2 weekends. I don't remember, but yeah, it was a couple of days. Not a big deal, nothing permanent, but that was my first paycheck job. I actually got a check. After that, my first job that I was at Po Folks, and I was a busboy. So I would bust the tables and clean and wash the dishes. And we would have inside in the group we'd kind of compete to see who could bust the most tables. So we would organize the bus tub. We didn't have this little cart that they push around nowadays. We had a tub that we carried, and we would put all these dishes in there, stack them, and put forks in there, and all that stuff, and clean the tables off so the next person could come on and sit. Now we had a competition to see who could clear the most tables. So 5, 6, 7, 10, whatever tables, to see who could clear the most and carry the most dishes back to back. So that Po Folks, busting tables for $4.25 an hour was my first job, and I did it during the summer during school, and so forth. And then from there, I went and worked in the kitchen. Now I've got to go because I'm actually where I'm supposed to be for this delivery, and I'll come back and talk to y'all later. Love you guys.